Hello, everybody, and welcome to the New Flame Sports Podcast. Welcome back. Cream and Dean are back. Sorry for the long break. Cream and Dean, as you know, they were in Canada. Just none of the days worked out. We did get that one episode with my sisters. If you haven't watched that, go ahead and check it out. So anyway, Week 17 is complete. The NFL regular season is complete. And now we move into the playoffs, which actually start today, Saturday, January 9th. This is very exciting because, the 17 playoff with each conference getting another team, which let the teams like the Colts and the Bears get into the playoffs. So anyway, let's go jump back a week and talk about some Week 17 games, starting with the Packers and Bears. Now, some playoff ramifications for this game. Packers clinched the 1 seed in the NFC, which has a bye week, and now the road to the Super Bowl for the NFC has to go through Lambeau Field. We all know that's a tough place to play in. But anyway, Packers clinched the 1 seed with a win, and the Bears make the playoffs with a Cardinals loss or win. So, here we go. What ended up happening? Packers won 35-16. They clinched that 1 seed. So now the Bears are scoreboard watching over in that Cardinals-Rams game, which ended up in the Rams winning 18-6. So that means the Bears get in at the 7 seed. So they will be playing the Saints. Now, we'll get into our playoff predictions, but yeah, all you need to know is that's not going to be fun for Bears fans on Nickelodeon. Great job, NFL. Great job. Like, what are we even doing anymore? An NFL playoff game on Nickelodeon. Do this in the preseason. Do it in the preseason for all we care. But you don't put a playoff game. One of the most important games in the season on a network that's meant for children. Like, some 8-year-olds are just going to be watching SpongeBob, and the next minute it's like, welcome to the NFL on Nickelodeon. Bears and Saints, let's go. And be like, what is this? It just doesn't make sense. Like, yeah, cool.
It's a joke.
Yeah, exactly. It is a literal joke. I mean, it's ridiculous. So anyway, back to the Bears-Packers game. I might have said Packers-Saints. I'm sorry if I did. Packers-Bears was the game. Aaron Rodgers continues his MVP-like season with 4 touchdowns. Packers D stepped up when it needed to. It was close throughout most of that game, but then a middle of the fourth, maybe early fourth quarter interception by Mitchell Trubisky, just took out all hope for Bears in winning that game, because at the time it was still a 5-point game, still a 1-possession game, could easily go ahead and take the lead in that one with a touchdown. So, with that said, now the Bears are now scoreboard watching in the Rams-Cardinals game, and the Rams ended up winning 18-6. John Wolford actually played pretty well. Honestly, if Jared Goff is like 50-50 on whether or not he should play, even 75% like he should play, I say you don't, because I honestly think they have a better shot with John Wolford, because Jared Goff is so inconsistent, and you don't know how bad he's going to be with a broken thumb. It doesn't matter how good he looks in practice. It's just, you just feel like John Wolford is just going to be the guy that's just going to go right there, do what he needs to do, be a game manager. He showed like he was pretty smart last week, so anyway, Rams get the win in that game, which means the Cardinals finish as the 8th seed in the NFC, which means they miss out on the playoffs, and the Bears make it at the 7th seed at 8-8. Anyway, next game we have the Cowboys-Giants. Now, this playoff ramifications for this game. Whoever wins has a shot at the NFC East title if Washington were to lose later that night, which we will also talk about that game later. All I'm going to say to Mike McCarthy is challenge that catch by Dante Pettis, because if you do, there's a good chance that it would be like 3rd or 4th down or something like that, and then you get the ball back, then you score, you're down by 4, it just works out in that if you challenge if you challenge it, and it did not look like a catch. It was not a catch. If you challenge it, you get the ball back, you score, you win the game, and now you have a shot at the NFC East. So I don't know what Mike McCarthy was thinking. Maybe he was like, do we really want to win because then we'll just get smacked by the Bucks in the playoffs? I wonder if that was running through his head. But anyway, that did not matter, as then the Giants ended up scoring on that drive, I believe, which made it a 4-point game. Cowboys were driving down the field with under 2 minutes to go, but Andy Dalton threw a pick in the end zone and the Giants win. So now the stage is set. Giants could possibly come in first or second in the NFC East. Cowboys in third, and then maybe they could come in fourth if Philly won. I'm not sure. But anyway, all you need to know is that since the Giants won, they needed Washington to lose in order for them to make the playoffs and play the Buccaneers. So now we head to Sunday Night Football on NBC. Washington football team with a chance to win the division. They just need a win. Versus the Philadelphia Eagles with Jalen Hurts. Oh, wait. In the fourth quarter, in that Philadelphia versus the Washington football team game, I think Doug Peterson pulled one of the biggest bonehead moves. He benched Jalen Hurts for Nate Sudfeld. Who even is this man? No one knows who Nate Sudfeld is. Like, come on now. Like, and I feel like I was watching something on ESPN, and Dan Orlovsky said it perfectly. Now, I don't have the full quote written down, but I am paraphrasing a little bit. He said something like, front offices know when to tank. They know that it's better for their franchise moving forward. But then he said, being a player myself, players and coaches are not wired that way. They're wired to where it's win and win only. And then he said, this was the first time that I saw a coach intentionally trying to lose. And I think he said it perfectly. I think that sums up all the Eagles fans' opinions about it. All the Giants fans. Giants fans were angry, especially the players. You know, Eli Manning was...
Did you see what Joe Judge had to say?
No, what did he say? Oh, yeah, he was like, I'll never disrespect the game. And we'll talk about, different people's responses after, we talk about, like...
Maybe the Eagles were doing it for the draft pick.
No clue. So anyway, Nate Sudfeld comes in the game, has 2 turnovers, and this is just a bad move by Doug Peterson. Whoever he talked to, and which I don't assume he did, I assumed he just walked over to Mr. Sudfeld over there. It was like, hey, yo, Nate, you going in the game, get your helmet on. We benching a good young quarterback that has a chance, because it's not like it was a 20-point game or anything. It was a 3-point game. Jalen Hurts was keeping them in that game, and granted, while he did have 2 interceptions or something like that, you just always have a chance with Jalen Hurts. I obviously hate it. Everyone hates it. It's bad for the game. And why don't we hear your guys' opinions? Dean, why don't you go first?
I don't really obviously agree with how Doug Peterson handled that. Like you said, they were only down by 3, and yet they bench, you could say, their franchise quarterback, looking of how he's been playing through the season. He's played very well, Jalen Hurts, obviously, and then, just like you said, what were they thinking? They were down by 3, and they bench Jalen Hurts, and I don't know who thought that Nate Sudfeld, or whatever his name is,
Sudfeld,
who thought he would play better than Jalen Hurts? I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, obviously, the Giants players, if you saw what was going on Twitter with all of them, and Joe Judge's response, even the fans, obviously, they're all really mad and saying that they lost the game on purpose. And like Kareem said, it could have been for the draft pick. But I really don't agree with what they did. Yeah, I don't think we've ever seen it before, and hopefully we never see it again because that was honestly embarrassing.
I mean, so I think there's one thing that people have missed because it didn't really go live. I don't think people understand that Doug Peterson, throughout the week before this game, everybody on the team knew Nate Sudfeld was going to play. He mentioned to everyone that Nate Sudfeld was going to play, and I don't think a lot of people realize this, but when you're down by 3 in a situation like this, I don't care what you say to the team. This is not when you do it because you got your franchise quarterback that can win you a game, or you got Nate Sudfeld, who time and time again, even throughout this game, was making bonehead plays like the missed snap, didn't dive on the ball, tried to grab it, obviously got knocked out of his hand. Chase Young picked it up and returned it for some yards. So Doug Peterson did say Nate Sudfeld was going to play, but I think I understand he's trying to be loyal to this team because he probably is like, well, we're in the fourth quarter. What other time? What other time do we have to put him in? But I mean, when you're in a game this close and you've got Jalen Hurts and Nate Sudfeld, I mean, you've got to keep Jalen Hurts in the game. I don't really care what Nate Sudfeld thinks because you're trying to win football games. You're not, and if he was coaching to win, he was coaching. He was going to put his best quarterback in, and he said he was coaching to win, but by any means, he was not coaching to win that game.
I mean, if you think that was a good idea, I don't know what your train of thought is, to be honest. It makes zero sense whatsoever. It just it baffles me how Doug Peterson could think this is a good idea. So anyway, that's just ridiculous. And speaking of the Washington football team, ex-quarterback Dwayne Haskins, who was cut after an incident, we all know what happened with him, um, is meeting with the Carolina Panthers as a possible backup quarterback job next year to Teddy Bridgewater. If there's one guy that you want to learn your career from, now obviously you'd want to learn it from like a guy like Drew Brees, Tom Brady, but like Aaron Rodgers or someone like that. But like I feel like Teddy Bridgewater is I'm not gonna say top tier, but he's like above average quarterback, and he's a guy that's had to deal with adversity. We all know that horrific injury. Came back. He's been playing well this season. Granted, the record doesn't reflect that, but they play in one of the best divisions in all of football. Um, you know. So anyway, I think this is it might. I'm not gonna say that he's gonna completely turn his career on a 180 next year. I'm saying it could be, like an 80-degree turn for his career. I think this might be a chance for him to, um, prove himself that he can, actually be good because he has not been good. However, he is not a good human being. So, I mean, take it how you want. I mean, I just think that there's a chance that he could turn around his career. You just never know. So, anyway, that's really it for Week 17 games. Now onto the top performers. Why don't you guys do offense and I'll do defense? However, there is something that I would like to say after you do the quarterback. If you see it on the notes, yeah. So why don't you guys go ahead and do that?
All right, so start this off. We're gonna give Kirk Cousins the top performer for quarterback of the week. He had 405 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. I'm done with the quarterbacks. That's really all I gotta say. I'm gonna give this back to Andrew because I know he wanted to say something.
Yeah. Speaking about that Lions Vikings game, there was a horrible roughing the passer call. Like, how can you on a sack? How do you even get roughing the passer on a sack? How is that even possible? Unless you just absolutely just slide the leg or whatever it is. There's just no way that was a normal tackle. Like, what even is that? I'd like to know. Like, I'm sorry for all you Lions fans that you had to witness that, but it just made zero sense. So anyway, yeah, Kirk Cousins gets the game ball at quarterback. Dean, why don't you go ahead and do the running backs?
So, for the first running back, obviously, no brainer. We have the rookie Jonathan Taylor out of Indianapolis. He had 253 yards and 8.4 yards per carry, which is absolutely amazing. And for the second running back, also no-brainer here, we have Derrick Henry, 250 yards and 7.4 yards per carry with him.
Don't forget about that 2,000 rushing
yards
season that Derrick Henry completed. For wide receivers, Marvin Jones of the Detroit Lions, 8 receptions, 180 yards, so averaging just around 10 yards a catch and 2 touchdowns. Brandon Cooks for the Texans, obviously ever since Will Fuller got suspended, Brandon Cooks has really been the main guy out there in Houston. He had 11 receptions for 166 and 2 touchdowns. And, I mean, the sensational tight end for Oakland, the man who really could play wide receiver or tight end if he wanted to because he's got the speed and the catch radius for both positions. Darren Waller, 9 receptions, 117 yards plus a touchdown in that stat column.
And now onto the defensive side of the ball. The defensive line, Leonard Williams, he had 3 sacks in a win for the Giants. Now, 3 sacks is very impressive, good enough for the top performer at defensive line. Linebacker, this is usually just the guy that had a buttload of tackles, maybe a couple of sacks here and there, maybe an interception. This week it was Alex Singleton, 14 tackles with a sack. Pretty good for the Philadelphia Eagles, although I'm pretty sure he got mossed by Logan Thomas. If I believe that, and I think that was him. It might have been some other linebacker, I'm not sure. Now for the secondary, Troy Hill, big pick 6 in that Rams win. Really helped out John Wolford in that game right before the first half ended. Really turned the tide in that game. And now for coach, it's not Doug Peterson. That's all I'm gonna say about that. That's really it for top performers. But big news, probably the biggest news in Houston all of this year. I guess not this year anymore. I guess it would be. Happy 2021, everyone. I forgot to say that. Anyway, Deshaun Watson, the star QB from the Texans, wants a trade. I'm gonna give this off to Kareem and Dean to give their thoughts about this.
Yeah, so obviously the Texans just brought in I'm not really sure what he did with the Patriots. I think he was player personnel, Nick Cassero, for the GM job. And obviously Deshaun Watson has been having some problem with it, but he did say it's not necessarily who they hired. I think that he wasn't a big fan of the GM hiring process. So he's said some things that hint he wants out, obviously, because when he tweeted, it was just kind of normal, and people was like, oh, wait, blah, blah, blah. So it looks like Deshaun Watson wants out, and for Texas fans, if Deshaun Watson goes, you are in complete rebuild mode, because you've only got J.J. Watt, you've got a Will Fuller coming off suspension, you've got a Bradley Roby, who's been your best corner, coming off of a suspension, and no big-name running backs, no big-name wide receivers, obviously, because Bill O'Brien made that bonehead move in the offseason. So, I mean, if Deshaun Watson wants out, good luck, Houston fans.
Yeah, just like Kareem said, I'm just going to sum it up just really quickly. Obviously, on Twitter, what Deshaun Watson said, but obviously he never explicitly said he wants out. But from what he said here and there, I think it's pretty clear that he's not happy with what has been going on in Houston. And if I would not be surprised if we see some trade rumors and trade demands from Deshaun Watson pretty soon.
So yeah, Deshaun Watson, obviously, granted he's never said it, but like you guys said, but in his tweets and what he's been saying, it is clear he wants out of he wants out of Houston, and now there was a rumor a couple weeks ago that Marvin Lewis, the longtime Bengals head coach, too long the Bengals head coach, was being interviewed for the Texans job, and if he is the guy in Houston that's going to be the head coach, I am very scared. I honestly think they should keep their interim head coach. They played a lot better with him. Their defense just needs to improve. And like you said, however, Will Fuller, this was his contract year. So I'm not sure if they're going to keep him, if they're going to let him walk. I would not be surprised if they let him walk. But here's the thing. If they do go into rebuild mode, they're going to have to keep Mr. Brandon Cooks because he said, I'm done being traded. I don't want to be traded anymore. And personally, I don't blame him. This man is like the Edwin Jackson of the NFL. Edwin Jackson played for 14 different MLB teams in his career, but Brandon Cooks has played for like 5, and he's been traded like every time. He wasn't he traded from the Saints to the Pats, and to the Pats to the
New Orleans.
the Saints to the Pats to the Rams. Now with the Texans, no, I just honestly feel bad for the guy. And by any means is he a journey? I mean, I guess he is a journeyman, but like a journeyman is like a guy that wasn't the greatest, like a guy like Ryan Fitzpatrick. Granted, he is like up there on like lists. Like he's 31st all time in passing yards. I had no clue who Ryan Fitzpatrick was, but Brandon Cooks has had a very good career up until this point, and I'm just kind of sad that now he's gonna be stuck on a bad team. He's just going to be stuck on a bad team for at least another year or two, so I feel bad for the guy, honestly. Anyway, that does it for Week 17, and on to the all-coveted playoffs. Anyway, here we go. The playoff round. Now, we are going to be giving our entire playoff predictions. However, no score predictions, that just takes a long time. Anyway, I am going to give this to Dean. Dean, why don't you go first?
So, I'm just going to start with the Bills and Colts game, obviously, because that's happening in near 2 hours. So, I think this one actually is going to be a lot closer than people say it's going to be. I think it's going to be within 10 points, but I do think the Bills will take it. Obviously, I mean, they've just been playing amazingly. Josh Allen playing like an MVP. Just the whole team's putting it together with their defense and their offense, especially. So I think the Bills will take that one. And then the next game we're going to be talking about is the Rams at Seahawks. Again, I think this one is going to be a very close game, within a touchdown, in my opinion. But I'm going to have to go with the Seahawks in this one. I mean, Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf, a great combination there. So next we have the Buccaneers game against Washington. That's the game that is tonight, and I don't think anyone really expects Washington to win. But what you saw what they did against an 11-0 Steelers, so you actually never know. But I think the Buccaneers are going to win that game. Next we have Ravens and Titans. This is probably going to be the best game of the week. But the Titans are 2-0 in the last 2 appearances against the Ravens, so I'm going to have to continue with the Titans and Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill and A.J. Brown and everything that's been going on over there. And next we have Bears at Saints, like you guys were talking about, the game on Nickelodeon. So that game is pretty, I think, one-sided for the Saints. And now we have the Browns and Steelers. Obviously, my team is the Browns. I honestly think the Steelers are going to win for one reason only. And that reason being, they beat a Mason Rudolph team by 2 points. So, yes, like Kareem said, if the Browns win, they will play Kansas City.
Not fun.
Which is a team I'd rather play.
Wait, you'd rather play Kansas City more than Pittsburgh?
No, the Bills.
Oh, the Bills. Oh yeah, honestly, I'd rather play the Chiefs than the Bills, to be honest.
Obviously, the Bills are the hottest team in the league. So I'm going to send it over to Kareem for his wildcard predictions. Alright, so let's start this off with Bills and Colts. I think Josh Allen continues his MVP season. I think, even though he's not going to win, it's going to be Aaron Rodgers. But I'm going to say
Bills win this one. Josh Allen has at least 2 touchdowns, 350 passing yards, and at least 30 rushing yards. I think it is going to be a plus 10 point differential against the spread, so I'm going to take the Bills in this game by more than 10 points. Let's move over to the NFC, where the number 2 Saints play the number 7 Bears in New Orleans. I'm gonna take the Saints in this one. I mean, so there could be some things that happen with Chicago. I mean, they could go to Nick Foles, but I mean, with the way Mitch Trubisky's ended out this season, I don't know why they would. But no matter what, I'm taking the Saints in this game. I think Drew Brees is definitely one of the best quarterbacks in the league, even though they had that concerning start at 1-2, but then they won many, many, many games in a row. So yeah, Saints are going to take this one. Steelers and Browns. So the Browns have absolutely everything against them. No coach, no offensive line coach, no wide receiver coach. Pretty much coaches are not a thing in this game for the Browns. And then you've got Juju Smith-Schuster saying, Browns is the Browns. They suck pretty much. Nameless gray faces. And I mean, with the time Juju's been there, the Browns have sucked. I mean, in the AFC North, when you're brought into the Ravens or Steelers facility, it's a mental thing that the Browns suck. And I mean, I've seen this being said across all networks, ESPN with Ryan Clark, um, other things like that. So, I am gonna take the Browns in this one just because I'm a Browns fan and I do think they have all the motivation in the world to win this game. But I know I just said the Browns are gonna win, but I'm just gonna say the Steelers are gonna win because every time I say the Browns are gonna win, I think we lose. If I'm correct, so I'm gonna take the Steelers in this one. But in reality, you guys know who I'm taking. Back to the NFC. Seahawks play the Rams, and Dean said it's not going to be that. It's going to be a lot closer than people say. Well, I don't know about that one. Russell Wilson, obviously, kind of concerning the way he's played, with a couple mental errors, a couple ill-advised throws. But I just think that DK Metcalf is going to have at least 100 receiving yards, 10
bold
catches.
prediction.
And I think he'll have a touchdown to go with that. And I think DK Metcalf is in conversation for best receiver in the league with guys like Devontae Adams. So, yep, Seahawks take this game. Final AFC game, Titans-Ravens. I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. Titans to win this game. I don't trust Lamar in the playoffs at all, and Derrick Henry is going to just have a monster game. And finally, Washington and the Buccaneers. This is my upset of the week if you don't count the Browns one as an upset. I take Washington because I think Chase Young is going to go absolute ham. Obviously, sad news for the Bucks. AJ Shipley, I'm not sure. I actually forgot his
It's
name.
AQ, actually.
Today. So, yeah, I'm going to take Washington. I think Chase Young's a monster game. And obviously, there's that whole quarterback situation in Washington. I don't think that's going to bother him because Alex Smith is pretty much a big game manager. So yeah. I'm going to take Washington with the upset.
Yeah. Alright, for me, I am just looked up NFL bracket on the interwebnet, and this is what I got too. First game, I'm just going to go NFC, then AFC. So anyway, first game, Saints-Bears, the 2 versus the 7. This is on Nickelodeon. Absolute joke. I'm going with the Saints. This is going to be a joke of a game. Bears literally have no chance. I'm sorry, Bears. You're just not amazing. Next game, Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Washington football team. I am going to go with a realistic pick is going to be the Buccaneers, but if you want to, I honestly do believe that the football team will have a chance at winning this game if Alex Smith does play, and just like you said, is that game manager that's all they need in order to win. Keep Tampa Bay off the field, possibly no Mike Evans. Washington will be at full strength, assuming Alex Smith plays. Antonio Gibson will be playing, McLaurin will be playing, and everyone will be playing for the Washington football team. And even then, even if Taylor Heineke does play, he's also a game manager from what I've seen, and I don't think that they would have no shot. I definitely think their chances would drop. But I would not be surprised if Taylor Heineke doesn't play horrible. Next game, the Seahawks and the Rams. I'm going to go with the Seahawks, even if John Wolford, even if Jared Goff, doesn't matter who's there at quarterback for the Rams. They have no chance. The Seattle Seahawks, they've been playing like monsters all year, granted. It used to be their offense doing all the work, and their defense was, one of the worst in the NFL. It was in NFL history, but they have stepped it up recently since Week 9. I think the Seahawks get an easy win. Now, next onto the AFC, 2-7 Bills, Colts. I'm sorry, Colts. Don't be surprised if you get absolutely blown out by the Bills and Josh Allen going by like plus 10 at least. Versus this good Colts defense. However, I would not be surprised if the Colts, put up a fight until the fourth quarter, until Phillip Rivers throw his inaugural late fourth quarter interception that clinches the game for the other team. Anyway, I'm going to go with the Bills. Next game, going with the Ravens. I'm going with the Titans and Ravens. Titans are going to win this game. I don't trust Lamar Jackson in the playoffs, like you said, Kareem. Last time that these two teams played each other, the Titans have won. And both of those games have been in Baltimore, but now this time it is being played in Tennessee, in Nashville. I just don't think the Ravens have enough offensive firepower to keep up with the Tennessee Titans with A.J. Brown, Derrick Henry, and Ryan Tannehill. Anyway, I'm going to go with the Titans win this game. Now, Browns-Steelers. As much as I want to pick the Browns, I can't, especially without Kevin Stefanski. Now, I know they've, him and their interim coach have been going over the plays this entire week and everything like that, but I just don't think that there's any chance for these Cleveland Browns without their coach. I mean, they could put up a fight, but I just don't trust them without the coach of the year, Kevin Stefanski. Anyway, I'm going to go with the the Pittsburgh Steelers on this one. They'll be moving on to the divisional round. And now, let's go in reverse order for the divisional round. These ones should be, quicker, and there are less games. First game, by the way, if I didn't make it clear, I am picking Tampa Bay in their game. Anyway, it would be Green Bay versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Last time these two teams played, Tampa Bay crushed the Packers 38-10, but it's not going to be the same this time. I think it's going to be in Lambeau, in the snow. If it snows, there is no way. I know Tom Brady's used to the snow, but anyway, I just don't think anyone can stop the Packers, even without one of the best offensive linemen in the league, David Bakhtiari. I just don't see any way that the Buccaneers win this game versus the Green Bay Packers. So I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers, moving on to the NFC Championship game. Next, we have the Saints and Seahawks, 2 versus the 3. And whoop-de-doo, I'm going with the 2 seed. It's a 1 versus 2 seed conference championship game. I just don't think the Seahawks offense has been proving themselves as of late. Saints offense has been clicking as of late. They'll get Michael Thomas back. If not today or tomorrow, I'm not sure when that game is. If not this week, definitely next week. Alvin Kamara, if he doesn't play this week, will be back next week. They're just gonna be getting healthy right at the right time, and I think they move on to the NFC Championship to play the Packers. Next, Chiefs and Titans, I believe, rematch of the AFC Championship game of last year. Chiefs won it obviously last year as they won in the Super Bowl. And I think it's going to be much of the same. I don't think Titans defense, one of the worst in NFL history to make the playoffs, is going to be able to stop them. I don't think anyone can keep up with Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. There's just no one on this Titans defense that I trust besides from I don't even trust anyone on that Titans defense. So anyway, that's why I'm going with the Chiefs to move on to the AFC Championship game. Bills, Steelers, other divisional round. Last time these two teams played, Juju was still dancing on the logos, and he got clamped by the Bills, and I think it's going to be much of the same without dancing on the logos. Bills are the hottest team in the entire NFL right now. And I just don't trust them. I don't trust the Steelers enough to win versus a legit team. That is healthy, because the Browns are a legit team. They just don't. They just won't have any coaches. They'll be without like two offensive linemen. Just it's a mess over there in Cleveland with the COVID issues. So that's why I have the another one versus two super conference championship. Oh, whoop de doo! So exciting. Kareem, why don't you go ahead and give us your divisional round predictions?
Yeah, so I'll go in the same exact order you did. Let's start off with Packers, and well, I said Washington, so I guess for me it would still be Packers versus Washington, and that game should be a landslide. Um, I think there's no chance Washington can beat MVP Aaron Rodgers. I think that Devontae Adams is going to absolutely impose his will on those cornerbacks, and I think Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon, that kid that has blossomed over the end of the season, will do very well. Um, so I'm going to take Packers in a landslide victory in this NFC divisional round. Seahawks and the Saints. Now I'm gonna take New Orleans in this game just because I think that their defense is gonna do just enough to stop the Seahawks from doing anything to win the game. I do think DK Metcalf for the Seahawks is going to have a good game, but I think the Saints defense would do just enough to power them to a win. Plus, I think the offensive firepower will just outweigh the Seahawks defense. So that would really make it, I guess, a Packers Saints NFC championship game, which has been, I mean, which was kind of anticipated after like Packers and Saints run for the NFC bye. So AFC, Chiefs Browns, and I mean, Chiefs should win this game. Um, I don't think there's any way the Browns win this game. Yeah, I am a Browns fan, I know, but I'm just being completely 100% real and honest. Patrick Mahomes is going to do some insane things to the depleted defensive back, which I mean that backfield, which is not front office fault. Grant Delpit tore his Achilles or ACL. Greedy Williams has been out for the whole season, so two second-round DBs that have been out for the season that both would pair with Denzel Ward, which is actually quite a scary defensive backfield. Plus Ronnie Harrison at the safety and Anderson Dejo, who's actually been playing quite well. Because I know I've been ranting about him all year. Um, Chiefs would win that game, and I don't think it would be a close one. Titans and Chiefs. So obviously, it would be another rematch, just like you said, of what we saw. And I mean, honestly, if the Titans get off to a really fast start, like they did in the AFC Championship game last year, where they had the lead for a good amount of the game, I think they could win. I don't think it's very possible. I do give the Chiefs like a 70% chance to win this game, but I think there is a chance for the Titans if they get off to a fast start and just can hold the lead and not blow it and become the Atlanta Falcons of the 2020-2021 playoffs. So I mean, that's all I got for the AFC and NFC divisional games. So let's head over to Dean for his predictions.
So I'm going to start with the NFC, just like you guys said. So for the Saints, the Saints versus the Seahawks, I'm going to go with the Saints in this game. And then the Tampa Bay versus Green Bay, I'm going to obviously go with Green Bay, mostly because of Aaron Rodgers, likely the MVP of this 2020-2021 season, and we will have a Saints Packers NFC Championship. So now the next game I'm going to be talking about is Chiefs Titans. Just because I said the Browns are going to lose, so the Chiefs and Titans will be playing in that game, and I will agree with Kareem on saying the Titans definitely do have a chance. Don't count them out of this game. I mean, they have arguably the best running back in the league. So It's going to be Chiefs and Titans in that game, and then obviously Bills and Steelers. I have to go with the Bills in that one. I think really that's a no-brainer. The hottest team in the league versus a Steelers team that has completely choked. I've gotten very cocky over the season, dancing on logos. Um, I have to go with the Bills in that one, and we will see a Chiefs Bills AFC Championship, and I'm going to have to go with the Buffalo Bills winning the AFC Championship game. So we will have I'm going to say a Green Bay and a Buffalo Bills Super Bowl. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to tell you who I think is going to win the game, but I'll just let you know it is going to be, I think it will be one of the greatest Super Bowls we will ever witness.
Okay, now.
I'm sorry. Can I just say one thing? When I was doing my predictions, I meant when I was talking about, I was talking about Bills and or Chiefs and Titans. I meant to say Bills and Titans. That's what I meant to say. I'm really sorry, and I was talking about all this rematch stuff. We're still gonna have an AFC Championship, but I'm just trying to let y'all know that I messed up. I meant Bills versus Titans in one of the divisional rounds and Chiefs versus Browns. I just thought I'd clear that up.
Okay. So, now on to the conference championship games. For me, I have the 1 versus 2 in both conferences, Packers, Saints, and NFC. I think this is going to go down as a great game, barring any injuries. And may I just say, these entire predictions are barring any injuries, because, if, Josh Allen gets hurt in this Colts game, well, there goes their chances, because they got Matt Barkley in there at QB for them. So anyway, Packers, Saints, this is possibly one of these games could possibly be Drew Brees' last game as an NFL quarterback, which it just hurts me to say. Drew Brees is a great player, great man. He's, anyone that you will talk about that has been on his team will say he's one of the greatest teammates. So I think it might. I think the Saints are gonna want to have to prove themselves after losing to Green Bay earlier in the season, I believe. I'm gonna go with the Saints on this one, heading to the Super Bowl versus the winner of the AFC Championship game, and in that game it's going to be Chiefs and Bills. I can't speak right now. And I'm going to go with maybe a little bit of an upset. I'm not so sure. I'm going to go with Buffalo. A 2 versus 2 seed Super Bowl. These are two Bills, Colts. Why do I see Bills, Colts and I'm thinking that's the game? Bills and Chiefs are 2 of the most explosive offenses in the NFL. Neither team can be stopped on offense, and those teams with lackluster defenses like these 2 teams, I think will have a tough. I think this is going to go down as a great game. I think the Bills win it, playing the Saints in the Super Bowl. Kareem, who do you have in these conference championship games?
I also have 1 and 2s for both. I'm gonna take the Bills, and I'm gonna say the Bills beat the Chiefs in what may or may not be an upset from what you see. And I'm also going to take the Packers beat the Saints, and we'll see. I think we'll see a Packers-Bills playoff unless Josh Allen does what Josh Allen has done in the playoffs, which I don't expect. And I am going to say that the Bills win it. And I'm going to say that the Bills win the Super Bowl. For the reason being, they're the hottest team in the NFL. They have the best young quarterback in the NFL, the best long-term quarterback in the NFL. They have a decent defense that can play and stop the Packers minimally. And I just don't think the Packers will do enough to beat Josh Allen's arm. I think Josh Allen's going to throw him into a win, and I think he'll have one of the best games of his career.
Dean, did you do your conference championship picks?
I did. I
Uh,
said the Bills would win and the Packers would win.
okay, so that means that that means we were all taking the Bills, which is actually surprising. I thought at least one would say the Chiefs. Anyway, for me, this is going to be a Saints Bills Super Bowl. And as much as I want the Saints to win just because, like Drew Brees and all that, I don't think they can. I just don't think they can keep up with the Bills' offense, even with, many great defensive players, such as, um, Malcolm Jenkins, Moshawn Lattimore, Demarius Davis, Cameron Jordan, anyone like that. I just don't think they can keep up with the Bills and that offense. I'm going to go in a high-scoring battle, back and forth scores. The Bills win it 35-34 in a 1-point win. Dean, why don't you go ahead and give your picks for your Super Bowl matchup?
So, my Super Bowl matchup is Green Bay and the Bills. And like I said before, I think this is going to be one of the greatest Super Bowls we ever see. Both teams having amazing quarterbacks, amazing receiver cores, amazing. I said quarterbacks, I said receiving cores. One team having an amazing running back, one team not. And I think that will give the Packers obviously an edge in the run game, but the Bills are such a hot team this year, a very young team. I think that's the way to put it. They do have, honestly, in my opinion, the best slot receiver in the league in Cole Beasley. They have one of the best wide receivers in Stephon Diggs, and the Packers obviously have Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers. That was literally a match made in heaven. So I honestly don't know who I'm going to pick. I think I'm going to have to go with Green Bay. And the reason I'm going with Green Bay is because Aaron Rodgers is, there's no doubt about it, obviously a first ballot Hall of Famer. A veteran who has been to the playoff Super Bowl times before. So he's been here before, and when you have a rookie quarterback like Josh, not rookie, but like a 3-year quarterback in Josh Allen, I don't think that he can do what Aaron Rodgers has done in Green Bay. So I'm going to have to go with Green Bay in this game.
So here's my thing. I also say it's going to be a Bills and Green Bay Super Bowl. Now listen, I'm going to get real descriptive here. It is a 4th and 5. It is a 52-yard field goal for the Bills. I don't know why I'm saying this, but I am. And Tyler Bass, the rookie, out of all people, hits a field goal. And the Packers win the game 31-28. End of story. I don't know if
you said Packers win, but then you had the Bills kicking the field goal.
Bills, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. Bills win. I don't know what's going on, man. It's the morning. Give me a break.
It is true. It is 11:08.
I mean, if I get it right, then I'm gonna buy some lottery tickets. But I mean, I don't know.
Ayo, clip that. Clip it.
I will clip it.
Anyway, now onto the marquee matchup of the week in this wild card round. It is going to be Ravens at Titans. Now, some notes going to this game, like we've all said, Titans are 2-0 in the last two matchups, and both games were in Baltimore. Henry ran the ball up and down their throats in both games of this two game matchup that these two teams have happened. And now let's head on to the secret weapons for the game. Titans. I can't read. Titans. This is gonna be Jonnu Smith, the athletic tight end. For them, everyone can look at the Titans' offense and be like, oh, AJ Brown, Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill. Like all of them really is good, but they always forget about Jonnu Smith. I feel like He's had a solid year up into this point. He's kind of like not been involved as of late, but we all saw what he can do when he's getting targets, getting carries even, in the beginning of the season, and likely probably the only like linebacker that can keep up with him on that Ravens team is probably going to be Patrick Queen out of LSU, and he's been struggling in coverage this past year in his rookie year. So maybe I'm calling bold prediction: 7 catches, 92 yards, and a touchdown for Jonnu Smith in this wild card matchup for the Titans. And now for the Ravens, I'm gonna go with a just completely random. I just thought of him last night when I was doing these notes. Miles Boykin. Now, he's had a couple big touchdowns, like long touchdowns in these past few weeks, and versus a horrible Titans defense, he could just absolutely shred them to pieces with his speed. You know, he's had like 30 plus yard touchdowns, and with his speed and the Titans' just lack of a defense, he could have a big game. I'm going to say 5 catches, 79 yards, and a touchdown for him, proving himself to be the number one wide receiver for the Ravens in this game. But they still lose. Though. Anyway, I'm going to let you guys do the keys to the game. Dean, why don't you do the Titans, and Kareem, you do the Ravens.
So, for the Titans game, the keys to the game and the key player in this one, I think is going to be A.J. Brown. I think he is going to have a spectacular game.
Well, he's not really a secret weapon. You're just saying you think he's going to have a big game.
I think this is the guy that's going to make a difference in this game. I think he's going to have upwards of 100. I'm going to say he'll have 123 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 13 receptions, maybe more, maybe 15. I think the ball's gonna get thrown his way a lot. He's been Tannehill's favorite target this year, obviously, and he's been playing a very good season with Tennessee. So I think there's no one other than A.J. Brown I'm going to go with for a key to the game and really a standout player this week.
Yeah, so for the Ravens, literally the same thing, except they're not going to let Derrick Henry eat up yards, blah, blah, blah. It's just everything opposite. The Titans are going to try to keep the Ravens are going to try to keep their defense has really been on some sort of downfall lately. They're going to try to, with their running game, obviously one of the better running games in the league, they're going to try to eat up yards and shoot clock at the same time. And as I said, they're going to try to keep their defense on the side of the field because it's not fully healthy, not fully strong. Obviously with some injuries and guys coming back later in the season. So yeah, Ravens literally just do the same thing.
Yeah, for the Titans, just keep that offense on the field and keep the Ravens' offense off. And for the Ravens, going to be the same thing. Keep that horrible Titans defense on the field. Keep your offense on the field. Keep your defense off. And I think if someone can get like 40 minutes of time of possession in this game, I think they win without a doubt. They will be able to control the clock, make sure the other team doesn't have the ball like at all. And I just think whoever wins the game of time of possession battle is going to win this game. Now, that's going to do it for the NFL portion of the New Flame Sports Podcast this week. Now on to the MLB news. Big news, the Yankees get Greg Allen. Just kidding. I don't really care. He's going to be in the minors probably this year. But obviously, the big news... Actually, before I get to that, I just saw a notification pop up on my phone. The Nationals are signing Kyle Schwarber. Now, I don't have time to research his stats in depth or anything like that. But anyway, I didn't really have time to research his stats in depth before doing this because it literally just popped up on my phone. Anyway, I think this is a decent signing. Kyle Schwarber, obviously not a great defender. He's a great offensive piece. He's gonna hit like 240, 250 every year, but he's gonna hit 20 plus home runs, drive in 70 plus runs, which for a Nationals team that really struggled on offense this year without Anthony Rendon, I think they desperately need something, to just like have that offensive firepower and anything like that. Anyway, the big news out of the MLB: Francisco Lindor is being traded from the Cleveland Indians, or I guess the Cleveland baseball team now, to the Mets, along with Carlos Carrasco, for shortstop Ahmed Rosario, utility player Andres Jimenez, prospect pitcher Josh Wolf, and outfielder Isaiah Green. Now, the Mets won this trade. There was no doubt. I don't care how good those two prospects turn out to be. I mean, we all know the Cleveland baseball team. They just always pump out pitchers. Like good pitchers like Clevenger, Bieber. The list can just go on and on. Anyway, Carrasco was really good. So anyway, I think the Mets won this trade without a doubt. Lindor is a top 10, if not top 5. You could easily say player in the MLB, and they get Carrasco, which is much more than just a throw-in. Carlos Carrasco was a really good pitcher this year, and he's a guy that just everyone loves. Obviously he beat cancer a couple of years ago. Just congrats. I just think that this is just a no-brainer that the Mets, like Steve Cohen, has literally gone galaxy brain here. He's like, yeah, trade away all our pieces, and this is what we need. And I think trading Ahmed Rosario and Andres Jimenez was the thing to do. But anyway, the Mets completely fleeced Cleveland here. And this is highway robbery. I'm not gonna say it's as bad as the DeAndre Hopkins trade, but it is pretty darn close. It just makes no sense. Granted, Ahmed Rosario and they get the Indians get 4 young players, but are they ever gonna live up to Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco? I just don't think they can. So, the Mets look very good this year. Maybe 1 or 2 more bullpen pieces. Now, they did sign Trevor May, which is a good signing, I feel like. I just feel like the Mets are going to be a very scary team heading into this year, because they just needed a shortstop, and Ahmed Rosario was obviously not the answer. So, now they just need a good defensive third baseman, because J.D. Davis is not good at third base. Maybe they trade for a guy, they probably won't trade for Nolan Arenado anymore, but they could possibly trade for a different guy. Names just aren't coming to me right now. Anyway, the Mets look very good next for this upcoming season. It's only been around 24 hours. It's been less than it's been a very short time since this trade happened, and I can't get my full thoughts around it. But anyway, all I know is that the Mets look scary, and I'm very scared as a Yankees fan. Francisco Lindor is a guy that can make your team from on the fringe to championship level. I would not be surprised if the Mets make a deep playoff run. The Braves and the Mets, I think the NL East might be one of the best divisions in baseball this year. The Marlins can be good. They showed it this year. The Mets are obviously going to be good with Lindor and Carrasco and DeGrom and Noah Syndergaard if he comes back, Marcus Stroman, Trevor May, just Edwin Diaz, everyone like that, Pete Alonso, obviously Noah Robinson, Cano. But if they sign another pitcher, I don't think they'll get Trevor Bauer anymore, but if they get George Springer possibly, you just never know. And then the Phillies are going to be the Phillies. They don't have any money to sign anyone or trade for anyone, but they can still be good. They have a decent, pitching staff. They just need to work on that bullpen. The bullpen is horrendous. Then the Braves are the Braves. They made it to the NLCS last year and were just one game away from making the World Series against the Rays. I mean, like I said, I can't get my thoughts around this. I think this is going to be the biggest news of the offseason. Anyway, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the New Flame Sports Podcast. If you like this episode, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you like what we're doing around here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Share this video and our channel with your friends, family, whoever. And you know what? I'll see you next week in the next episode.